So how does the influence of foreign capital affect the economic development of African nations? Experts all over the world have pondered over the simple question of why some say foreign aid supports and expedite economic development in African countries. Others argue that foreign aid causes inflation and erodes all domestic investment. I will explain to you why foreign aid cannot rescue Mother Africa from the dangers of poverty. First, agriculture used to be the keystone of most African countries. But foreign aid in the form of agricultural produce take people away from their farms by providing them with cheap and easy food source. Providing food aid to African nations is simply giving them food for a day rather than teaching them how to fish, which would be the most ideal. Food aid provides a middle-day meal with no income. If they work to produce such food, they will sell their product for money, provide for their families and the public. They would eventually mechanize their farm produce on a large scale and maybe export their products for foreign exchange. Religious and ethnic conflict decimate and displace hundreds of thousands of people, which in turn keep them away from their farms and make them remain dependent on foreign aid. Former United Nations Secretary General Kofi Annan once said, "If we use 1/3 of the foreign aid spent to feed Africa to secure Africa instead, then we won't have to feed Africa." What Mr. Annan was saying is that poverty can be drastically reduced if Western money is used to keep Africans safe and secure instead of unsafe and obese food. United Nations Free Food Program breaks the back of African farmers. United Nations dumps more than 20 billion worth of surplus agricultural commodity per year on African states in the form of food aid. A priest in Nigeria reported that natives of his district will grow all the food they want, but they have chosen not to produce all they need because of the availability of U.S. free food. Aid and corruption. Foreign aid make politicians richer and the poor poorer. Foreign aid does not address the real issue of corruption and bad government. In Zimbabwe, for example, some people are not allowed to own land and property. The government destroys people's business to reclaim the land, which it then gives to special interest. Foreign aid is always there to support the displaced people, but foreign aid never addresses the real issue that got not displaced people and displaced people in that position in the first place. Foreign aid fuels embezzlement and misappropriation of funds. With foreign aid running into hundreds of millions of dollars, political thieves are only being encouraged to steal as much as they can. If foreign aid has not ended poverty over 40 years, and after 10 trillion US dollars, it will never solve poverty, even though evidence of government corruption is clearly visible to foreign donors. They still direct most foreign aid to corrupt and foreign government. For anybody have a question, I'll check in.
Yeah, what the United Nations and African Union or African leaders are doing now to track down politicians who embezzle billions of dollars.
Billions of dollars, yeah. Like, for example, there is it's under the European nation, the EU. Like the EU got an organization that is tracking everything down right now. Like they're trying to make all African states sign a paper or a treaty that, like those political thieves, they're gonna bring them out to prosecute them. Like let's take example of Kenya, for example. What's his name? The president of Kenya.
Mwai Kibaki.
Kibaki. Kibaki was accused by the British of being corrupt. There are almost about 170 billion US dollars, or 170 million, that was supposed to be schools for the kids. Those money was taken. They didn't know what happened to the money. So what the British Foreign Commission did, they just suspended all British foreign aid to Kenya right now. So that's another way to address the issue. By suspending the aid to them, or by exposing the criminals out. But what I'm trying to say right now, even if that's not going to solve our problem, by giving us those money, it won't even solve it. It's just going to encourage political criminals. Look, Nigeria, for example. Like Nigeria created EFCC, like anti-corruption practices, to track down these these political criminals. But still, EFCC is still corrupt because it's still run by the president. The president can decide to take the head of EFCC out and replace him with his own body. So, for me, it doesn't work. All we need to do is just cancel foreign aid. Western countries can be feeding us from day-to-day basis.
I have a question. Do you think, due to the people who are corrupt, the politicians, they're affecting the poor people, which we call, like in Kenya, they call them common citizen, because by holding the aid, does that really help? Or would they rather come up with a different strategy whereby maybe they can come up with their own organizations in the country, whereby they can be able to channel that money to the right places where they expect the money to go? For instance, like building the schools, like what you're saying the president of Kenya did. Do you think they should have their organizations there go and meet that need themselves other than giving the politicians the money?
That was a good point. If they can build school, that was good. But before you go into someone's country to build school, you have to pass through the government, through of us.
Right.
So the government must still have their own people there, through of us,
Right.
to supervise it. So one or two ways, the money will still get missing from those countries. For me, my suggestion was like, if they're giving us like free food program, they shouldn't be doing that. To me, like if they can encourage the farmers, like give them like manures to grow their crops, to grow it over there in Africa and sell it. Encourage the farmers, at least give the farmers some money to grow their crops and sell it so that they can have profit. Because everybody need money. It's not just about giving them food.
So which is one way would the farmers get the money? Is it like through microfinancing?
Yeah, they can get it through microfinancing. Yeah, the farmers can get aid from there so that they can buy manure to grow their crops and sell it. That would be the most ideal, instead of giving them food by daily basis, which it doesn't solve the problem.
I have a question. Do you think if, discontinuing the food aids that they're giving to us or the African people, you think it's going to do more harm than good? Because a lot of people are going to suffer from those not having those food coming over. A lot of people is going to suffer back home. How would those people deal with it? Meanwhile, this food aid being stopped, how long would that be before your plan is going to go into, the government helping the farmers, And I know African countries, it's not like they're so rich, they have other expenditures to do, How would they channel those money to get to the farmers, and how long would those people be suffering waiting for that food aid,
Okay, let me give this an example. In Africa, most of all African countries, probably apart from Sahara Africa, the desert part, anything you plant in Africa grow up through of us. So, giving them like manure to grow their crops, the farmers can grow the crops over there by helping the farmers to grow the crops. Then they can sell it. If the foreign government want to bring money so that they can buy from them to feed people, so that the farmers can make a lot of money from that. By you bringing food to America to dump to Africa, you are not encouraging the farmers. They're not getting money at the end of the day. So that's not going to solve our problem. So the farmers, they can make money. So if they can make money, there's still poverty.
Yeah, so it would be a great idea to give Africans agricultural subsidies like manure instead of building or establishing international criminal code to track African leaders who embezzle billions of dollars.
They have done that in the past. It's difficult for you to take someone out of his country to go try it. If it's not a war crime, you can take him. If it's not a war crime, you can take him out of his country to go try it. It's only his people that can try it, his country. So, and the people are not willing to do it. The best way is to give like manure commodities to African farmers so they can produce the food over there. But I'll be concluding it right now. In conclusion, to say foreign aid is one of the worst things that is happening to African states. It's an understatement at its best. Foreign aid feeds people from day to day, provide shelter for a very few, and keep them well fed. Foreign aid Foreign aid also encourages corruption, promotes widespread violence as a result of corrupt and greedy government fashion, fighting over the undeserved national cake. It propagates dependence of such foreign aid, and it diverts attention from much better and effective method of fighting poverty. Sustaining African states with foreign aid is like fetching water with a hand-woven basket. For me, it's just a bad idea. Thank you. My name is Osa.
Okay.